And I would like to add a quote from our founder, Bob Chapman. The way we lead impacts the way people live.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Class, From Knowledge to Action, the audiocast that helps Chapman Foundation alumni continue the journey of applying the skills they've built and turning them into practical, intentional actions for everyday life. I'm your host, Adam Salga, and today we're talking about something that can feel, well, a little intimidating: culture change. You have probably heard phrases like, "We need to shift our culture," or "Let's build a better workplace culture," or "I wish our culture was like theirs." But what does that actually mean? Where do you start? What is your role? And can it be done immediately without a massive top-down initiative? Joining me today is someone who has spent her career helping organizations answer those questions. I'm joined once again by Misty Janks, CEO of the Chapman Foundation for Caring Communities. She is a thought leader and organizational psychologist who's passionate about unleashing the power and potential of individuals and organizations. Misty, welcome back.
Thanks, Adam. I'm excited to be here. Culture change is one of my favorite topics because it is incredibly powerful and impactful for team members. And yes, it's absolutely possible to start today.
Well, that's really awesome to hear. And I'm guessing the tips that we cover are going to point out how, because that's the point of this audiocast, right? But let's start with addressing why culture change can feel so overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming because it's not about policies or programs. It's about people. It's about shifting behaviors, mindsets, and daily interactions. And that has an element that's just not in our control, so it can feel like a lot. But the good news is culture is not static. It is shaped even in the smallest of moments. You do not need the perfect plan to begin. You just need to start making the culture vision explicit.
All right. I love that. So let's jump right into it. You've put together 3 concrete action items to help leaders tackle this. The first one: define and operationalize your organizational values. I would imagine many organizations have the first verb accomplished. They've defined their values. But what about that second? Operationalize. What does that look like?
It means making values real and explicit, not just words on a wall or in a handbook. You have to ask, what does each value look like in action? How do we make decisions based on it? How do we hire, onboard, and evaluate performance through this lens? For example, if trust is a core value, do leaders share information transparently? Do team members feel safe in speaking up? If not, trust is just a word, not a lived experience.
Yeah, that's a really strong point to make. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, though?
Sure. Clarity creates confidence. When people know what is expected and how it connects to the values, they can align their actions more easily.
That makes a lot of sense. Do you have any real-life examples of how we do that here at the Chapman Foundation that you could share?
Yes. So every time we have a team event, like our yearly gathering, I challenge our events team to show me how they're going to ensure each team member feels our company values during that event. We will go through each value and discuss how we will make that value come to life. For our organization, one of our values is fun and celebration. So we take the time to really ensure that we have space dedicated to that value. This could be a team building event that is light and fun after a heavier work session.
So something like a basketball free throw contest, maybe?
It sounds like you might have been to one of these gatherings before.
I might have been, yeah. I didn't win. Shout out to Josh. Well, let's move on to our second action item: provide feedback that shapes behavior. Why is feedback so central to culture?
Because even though culture can sound big and daunting, it is built in the day-to-day. Feedback is how we reinforce what's working and redirect what is not. Recognizing when someone lives the values and then redirecting when they're not. People can't improve what they're not aware of. Clear, consistent feedback accelerates culture change. It's how you build alignment and trust. Remember, feedback is not just about correction, it's about coaching.
So I love that you mentioned in that last statement, it's not about correction, it's about coaching. Because in our last audiocast, episode 7, How to Build a Coaching Culture Through Everyday Conversations, Chief Program Officer Katie Trotter covers that in greater detail. So I'll put a link in the description of this episode if the listeners want to go deeper into that aspect. So, can we play this out in an example? So, like, let's say one of the values of an organization is collaboration. But as a leader, you have seen a lot of siloing of information and it continues to occur. What might you recommend?
So in this case, when collaboration is the defined value that we're working towards, but it does not seem to be lived out as often as we want it to be, I would really start scanning the environment, opening my eyes to even find the smallest sign of teamwork to celebrate. For example, what is something that you've worked on with your leader, Natalie, lately that might seem insignificant?
I guess something that's on maybe the smaller side of impact, or just something that was pretty simple. Last week, I had her review some YouTube thumbnails that I was producing.
Great. So right there, even though that might not have the depth or impact as a large scale project, in a team meeting, I might say something like, I want to recognize Natalie and Adam for working together to update our YouTube page. The new thumbnails really bring a cohesive look to everything and elevate the professionalism of our brand.
And I would say thank you very much. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome. But people repeat what is appreciated. Culture change is not just about fixing what is broken. It is about fueling what is strong and highlighting it.
Can you tell me anything more about that theory? Like, where does that come from?
Yeah, so this is directly from behavioral psychology or behavioralism. It's a theory that studies how environmental factors and interactions shape behavior, focusing on observable behaviors and actions rather than internal mental states. It states that all behaviors are learned through conditioning, such as associations with rewards and punishments, and can be modified through various techniques. That is why appreciation practices like recognition and celebration are built into our culture model. Remember to celebrate progress, not just perfection. Tell stories, shine the light on who embodies the culture or the value, even if they're just taking that first step.
That's a powerful reminder. Especially in times of change, I think people really need to know that their efforts matter. I want to remind our listeners that you can use one of the skills from our community listens, the FBI, Feelings Behavior Impact Method, to deliver recognition messages as well, not just confrontation messages. If you would like a refresher on how to build those, check out episode 103 from season 1 of our audiocast. It's titled Dissecting Top Secret FBI Statements, and you guessed it, I'll put the link in the description. So, Misty, if someone is listening and thinking, I'm not in charge and I can't change our culture, what might you say to that?
You don't need a title to lead culture change. You just need to show up with intention. Didn't you and Katie mention something about this in the latest audiocast?
Yeah, we did. And we had a couple of phrases that I'll bring back up. The one I mentioned was, be the change you want to see in the world. And she recalled the phrase, focus on your corner of the world.
Exactly. And I would like to add a quote from our founder, Bob Chapman. The way we lead impacts the way people live. So even if we're not a leader by title, every small action contributes to the bigger shift.
Let's recap the 3 action items that you shared with us to help lead culture change.
So the first one is to define and operationalize your values. Number 2 is to provide feedback that shapes the behavior. And then number 3 is to recognize and celebrate what is working.
All right, Misty, as we wrap up, what is the one level up opportunity that you would like to offer to our listeners?
Think about one interaction you will have this week. Maybe it's a teammate, a friend, or a direct report. Ask yourself, how can I reinforce the culture I want to see? Through feedback, recognition, or modeling of value. That one moment could be the start of something very powerful.
If you are ready to take change from concept to action, reach out to us about becoming a caring workplace, or look into our foundational class, Our Community Transforms. Misty, I want to give you the opportunity to expand on either one of those topics, or maybe both, if you can tell us more about each of those.
So our Caring Workplace program is really how we help organizations design a strategy for their culture. All too often, as I'm out across the country talking to organizations, when you ask them, what is your strategy for your culture? They've never considered it. So we have a method that can help you identify and work through. We have the 6 foundational pillars for human-centered leadership, and we help you design strategies to make those pillars come to life inside of your organization. So we take the guesswork out of it, and then we help measure your success against those pillars. When we talk about our community transforms, that is where we learn about what are the behaviors of those 6 pillars and how do we integrate those into our practices, our policies, and really have them come to life. So with those 2 programs, we take the guesswork out of how to build culture.
I love that there's so much that we can add to a foundation. And I want to use the word add a little bit because I've heard you talk before that this is not necessarily us coming in and completely changing or rehauling your culture and telling you what you need to do. It's a collaborative additional process. Can you talk a little bit to that aspect?
Yes. So with our 6 pillars, we are making it explicit what you're doing and linking it to strategy and outcomes. So just like I said before, we want to make our behaviors explicit. That's what we're doing for your organization. So you are, I would guarantee you are already doing work in these 6 pillars, and we just make that more intentional and in alignment to build culture.
I love that. That's awesome. If you'd like more information about Caring Workplace or Our Community Transforms, we have a lot on our website, and I will put a link in the description to fill out a form to reach out to us directly.
And if you want to keep this momentum going, go ahead and share this episode with a friend or a colleague.
Misty, thank you so much for being on the episode today. I'm always thankful to have you here.
It's always such a pleasure to be here.
Until next time, we're inviting you to walk your path with intention because you are the message. Take care, my friends.